Hey, let's get into another episode of Shoot the Ish, and thank you again for tuning in. You already know what we got to talk about. We got to talk about this Michael Jackson documentary. I stood up for 2 nights and put in mad hours trying to analyze what I saw. And all I can say is, and watching this episode and watching this documentary, the only thing it made me want to do is like if I had a facial expression for it, because those who know me know I come up with some damn interesting facial expressions. Just made me go like this. Really? But let me just start by saying this. Look, at the end of the day, abuse and child molestation is nothing to even joke around with, right? Nothing to joke around with. But it was just a lot of weird shit. I think one of the things that I realize about this now, when we think about Michael Jackson, you think about all the songs he did, how long he was in the game, and the performances and everything like this. But there's no way in hell you could think about Michael Jackson and not think about the phrase "them boys." Mike always been weird. Even though we all listen to it, I remember as a little kid, you would say Bubbles, his best friend was a monkey. Just always want to be best friends with little kids and shit like that. So for one, you're already weird, right? So it don't take a rocket scientist, but you were weird, but you had money. You were weird because you was black, had an afro, you turned into Mr. White Man with a S-curl or a perm that was better than even a white motherfucker. So you were weird. Something is obviously fucking wrong with you, right? So we got all that. Because remember, Michael really got bigger once he did all that crazy shit to his skin and all this other shit. So that's when he even got bigger and bigger and bigger. So that just means to show you that anybody in the world knew something the fuck was up with him. So the problem, what I found with the documentary was just the fact that when you watch it and you look at the parents and shit like that, it's like, yo, you really pimped out your kids. And see, I seen the Oprah the Oprah did an interview after the case. After the documentary, and I get it. I'm not going to vilify the kids or something like that, but even some of the dude, Rob, I think his name was Wade Robson, right? He was the one who stayed a part of Michael Jackson's life basically up until the day he died. He did choreography for NSYNC, Britney Spears. He had his own studio. He was doing big things. He had the Wade Robson project on MTV and everything. But Mike met him when he was 7 years old in Australia. Now, basically, how he met him was on some shit like he entered to a dance contest and all that shit. And, they said whoever wins it, they get a chance to meet Mike. Now, remember, he's 7 years old. But let's fast forward and all this stuff. So let's just break it down. He got money, and the parents said, Mike said, hey, come visit us and all this other stuff. They came visit him. But it was just like different scenarios. Like, look, 7 years old, it was situations where they wanted to go to the Grand Canyon. Mike had the family, the grandparents, everything, the father and all that. And the boy says, I want to stay with Michael. The mother says, okay. So they go off to the Grand Canyon, leave a 7-year-old with Mike Jackson. Get the fuck out of here. Let's just keep it 100. Get the fuck out of here. My 7-year-old son wants to, hey, I want to stay with this dude that I really know, but he got a lot of money. Nah, you don't tell me where you want to stay. You coming with me. That's it. She would say Mike calls the house all the time. The sister says I didn't speak to him that long. The mother says, I didn't speak that long. But they were on the phone like buddies for like 7 hours and 8 hours talking. What the fuck does a grown man have to talk to a 7-year-old about? And then you say 8 hours. Shouldn't he be taking a motherfucking nap? So that family understood that Mike ain't there to hang out with y'all. He don't give 3 fucks about y'all. He interested in your son. That's the one he stay on the phone with. And then we got the other guy, Dave Safechuck. He met that kid on it was a Pepsi commercial. And even the kid said he wasn't interested in Michael Jackson, nothing like that. And basically, Mike just always introduced to the family, and they was like, you know, we cool, we hang out. But what it's just so hard for me to believe anything. What I do believe, again, like I said, Mike was on some weird shit. No ifs and buts about it. Shit, I even got notes on this shit because I was like, I want to make sure I knew what the hell I was talking about. I think what was it? They said the boy from like the Dave Safechuck. He was like, Mike would gave him a jacket and gave him $700. I was like, yo, the parents are. It's like when you watch a documentary, what you gonna really sit back there and look at is like, what the fuck was going on with these parents? It's like they were more or less caught more in the hype than the kids were. It was literally the parents who was like, yo, I'm trying to get everything I can. Even the dude Wade Robinson, his mom, she was starting to feel herself even more. And I ain't gonna lie, he grew up to be a good dancer, but as a little kid, I didn't see anything impressive with him. But I see one thing, Mike didn't damn sure give about no black kids, so you ain't never heard no shit like that with them. And I'm like, so technically, for one, that's what you could take away from watching this documentary. But I ain't gonna even lie, it was some shit that they were saying. I was like, damn, Mike was on some perv shit. You know what I'm saying? He was really on some perv shit. So I think Mike met the Pepsi kid in 1986 at the commercial, like I said. At 1987, that was when Wade Robson met Mike after Mike gave a performance in Australia backstage, right? It was a dance-off show, and like I said, little nigga couldn't even dance. The only thing he was doing was pumping in the air when you watch the documentary. But nah, so basically, we go back to the dude, Dave Safechuck. Mike really hung around him. They played. You know, that's what he did. He said it was, they went to Paris. I think Mike asked the family to come to Paris. And Dave said that's when Mike taught him about masturbation. I'm like, damn. I'm watching all this shit. I'm like, it still baffles me how a grown-ass man still got all this time with your little son. That they got overnight. They was like, they had a sexual relationship. And then when you listen to the sexual relationship, I'm like, what the fuck? See, now, we always understand that when you're talking about molestation and things of that sort, it's usually somebody that's real close to your family member, dad, or something like that. And so it's understandable how it can probably escalate to that. I don't give a fuck how much money you got. I just basically met you. You Mike Jack. We all know that you goddamn weird. And I'm hate to hear, I can understand because Mike didn't have a child life. Nigga, please. You ain't have a child life. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers don't have a child life growing up and they still don't be feeling like a 7-year-old. I'm 33 years old and the 7-year-old is my best friend. Fuck that child life shit. Now, there were weird things. I mean, I heard conspiracies saying that he was chemically emasculated And basically what that means is that you really didn't grow testosterone. So basically it's not like you could really get hard or you could really produce semen and stuff like that. And it's like, if that was true, then some of the stuff they said about Mike, because they said, both of them said Mike would tell me to basically bend forward and spread my butt cheeks, and Mike would jerk off. I'm like, damn, nigga, you. And then they said Mike eventually wanted to toss some salad.
That's some bullshit.
I'm like, God damn. Mike was a straight up fucking perv, if you're to believe what the fuck was going on. Now, one of the things that I did realize, though, was the fact that while watching the documentary, none of the mothers cried. Nobody cried. The only emotion I saw was one of the mothers laugh about being left alone with the monkey because Mike was always with her son. So the only person she got to chill with was the monkey, which was another weird. So you know what happened to your son, and you know why you were chilling with the monkey in retrospect. He was out there fucking with your boy. But the only thing that showed you emotion was you were chilling with the monkey. Then I'm like, hold on. Now, this is a documentary. You telling a story about your children was molested. You noticed some of the shit that happened. And not one bit of tear would come out your eyes knowing that you placed your kid in that situation. Bullshit. I know people tell a story now, like you can tell a story that's sentimental to you and a little tear come out. No tears came out. And Wade's family, the only tear that ever came out was the fact that they left their father at the airport. And that's when I seen people show a little bit of emotion, but nobody showed emotion in reference to getting all this shit being done to you. You getting banged out. You getting salad tossed. You getting... You topping him, he topping you, and like none of this shit ain't started you. And like I said, that Wade character, he seemed like Mike left him alone a couple of times, and he calling Mike to be like, yo, I'm as a grown man, he calling Mike like, yo, I'm doing something for Cirque du Soleil, you know, come down and say, you know, that you know me and you know, talk to them. So he was using Mike's celebrity to even get him off. Like, you know what I'm saying? To give him props. So I'm like, come on, man. You always seem like an opportunist. Like, your family seem more like an opportunist family than anybody. But again, I'm not calling them a victim. I mean, I'm not saying that they're lying. But what I'm saying is that your stories just don't make sense. Like, some of the shit just don't make sense. But like I said, the culprits in this situation would be the parents and Mike. Because like I said, if Mike was stuck as a little boy in his motherfucking brain, god damn, he was fucked up. But I'm sorry, I just still can't understand a grown man being a 7-year-old kid's friend. Now, I know I skip a lot of stuff, but like one of the things, and it's not, I ain't trying to make a joke of it, but it was one funny thing that was said during this document. Damn, it's not funny, but who was it? I think it was Wade who said, he was like, yeah, Mike tried to go down on him. Well, Mike went down on him, and Mike would grab his hand so that the little boy could touch his head while he going down on him. That little nigga said, yes, he would go down on me. He would tell me to touch his head, and I can remember like it was yesterday. His head felt like, you know, like a Brillo pad. I started dying. I said, a Brillo? I was like, hold up. Mike got all that money. This motherfucker head feel like a Brillo pad. I was like, yo, Mike, Might want to be white, boy. Yo, you got these white problems you dealing with, all this sick shit. But see, that's another thing, too. Mike came from a big-ass family. So you mean tell me this nigga feel lonely? Because that's what the mother was like, oh, I feel sorry for Michael. He was real lonely and, you know, he didn't have any friends. And that's why I let him play with my child. I'm like, is you fucking serious, bitch? Like, you got to be fucking crazy, too. But any excuse you could make to make yourself feel good to get that money. No, you like your son's best friend being goddamn a billionaire or something. But it was like, what? Like I'm telling you, while watching this shit, you really start looking at everything like, yo, these motherfuckers is crazy. That's all you can really say. They fucking crazy. Then we got another scenario, like, I think it was a dude, Dave again. He was like, Mike would give me jewelry, like wedding rings and stuff like we were married and everything of that sort. Now, I can understand, you know, it was given to you as a kid, but you a grown-ass man. Jewelry that was given to you by somebody that was tearing that ass up, somebody that was licking you on the ass. Like, if this man still did that, like, you still rocking the rings. Then when you showing the rings to the thing, you like, oh, I can't watch this anymore. Let me put them up. What, you gonna sell that shit? It's almost like, how do you keep the shit that symbolizes that the gifts from the dude who was doing all this shit to you? And let's not get it fucked up. Even Mike, even the mom and them told Mike, look, we're looking to get another house. Mike said, don't worry about it. I'll give you a loan. Mike get them a house and just say, you know what? You don't have to worry about the loan. Now, again, as I said, always understand this. Mike don't give a fuck about those parents. Mike cared about the boys. And you knew this. Well, I think the Safe Chuck, the mother was saying some shit like, yeah, Mike would go to the hotels and he'll bring us down, and you know, we usually stay in a room next to Mike's while he's with my son in the other room. But for some strange reason, this time they had us downstairs. So we were downstairs while Mike and my son was upstairs.
Okay.
I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with these bitches? Because at the end of the day, you were blinded by the money. But some of them, it was, look, the way Rob's mother was like, I always felt, you know, something was weird. But I'm going to tell you guys on this documentary what he doesn't even know. I used to sneak to the door and listen to see what was going on. I'm like, bitch, if you feel like you need to sit and listen to what's going on with a fucking grown-ass man and your little son in the room, maybe that's another sign that something ain't right. Then, it was one time, Mike tells the mom, this is all, because this is all one-sided, because let's keep it 100, Mike is dead. So, now, she says, Mike said, how about you leave your son with me for a year? The mother then says, no, Michael, I can't do that. Mike then says, I get what I want. She says, not my son, Michael. Then Mike says, well, you're going to have to stay 4 days longer with me. And she said, all right, cool. So they stayed 4 days longer. Now, the fact that he told you that already let you know he was infatuated, or something is weird that this grown-ass man is willing to take your son for a year. But you said, only way he gonna come down here is if he with me. So even at that point, you know Mike don't give a fuck about you. He still give a fuck about your boy. And none of this shit just seems to, you know, register in your fucking brain. I just look at the whole scenario like these people, he caught the right people, and it's like everybody was using everybody, but the kids were the innocent ones, right? And then one of the weird things about the Robson family, the grandmother was like, Michael messed up our whole family. No, he did not. Because the reality is, you allowed certain things. You were there, the grandmother was there when you decided to leave your grandson with this dude for a week. Nobody was crying. You was up there chilling. You was in the United States chilling, having fun, going here, going there, going here, going there, and no one said, oh, let's worry about our grandson. Y'all motherfuckers was chilling. Yeah, we know Mike. Yeah, we know Mike, and y'all stunned. Shit, the mother wound up leaving the father because she want to go to Los Angeles and get the little boy career popping. But what's so funny, who paid for all this? You already know Mike doing it. So they using Mike just like Mike was using them for that little boy. But let's be honest, I think the mom was probably pimping out the son if in fact the boy was really fucked with. It was like when they officially left what was said in the documentary, they officially left the father to go to Los Angeles. When they made it to Los Angeles, they like, hold on, Mike got a new friend? And that new friend was Macaulay Culkin. They was like, we need to get back in this game because Macaulay Culkin trying to take my spot. And then they met another little kid. What was his name? Brett Barnes. So that was that was another kid that he met. And then they feeling some type of way when it's all said and done. And I'm like again, Mike fucking with these boys. And I'm like, yo, the dude is still weird. Now, to this date, Macaulay Culkin still says Mike didn't do nothing. The dude, Brett Barnes, still said Mike never did nothing. So the ones who stood around Mike the longest, it seems like it was the Wade Robson, and the Dave Safechuck, who stood around him longest. Now, 1993 was when there was like this big sleepover while they was in Los Angeles, and that's when Macaulay Culkin was there, and it was a boy by the name of Jordan Chandler who was there, and they basically, 1993 is when Mike Jackson came up on charges about fucking with the boy Jordan Chandler. Now, I think Jordan Chandler family was more gangster because he was like, nah, that nigga fuck with my kids. We ain't having that. We ain't gonna have no 5 years, 10 years that Mike fucking with some boys. Look, they did it. He settled out of court. $10 million the kid and the family got. Cool. You wasn't tolerating it. So even at that time. So, yeah, I see that Mike got brought up on charges. He settled out of court. And then the parents said, look, they was just at the money. I ain't believe the shit that happened. Now, true indeed, I could believe it because I remember during that time I was like, yeah, that's probably what it was. The family was just at the money. I even thought the family was at the money. But I'm like, wouldn't that have been an opportunity for the kids? Because now these boys are getting up there in age. They like 18 or something like that. And I'm like, y'all still hanging with Mike. Y'all still moving the way y'all moving. And you still saying y'all going over there having y'all sexual relationship. Y'all still banging out with Mike and all this. Then Mike convinced, who was it? The Dave kid, parents. Don't let him go to school. Don't let him go to school. And the parents say, okay. I'm like, hold the fuck up. Mike can have all the money in the world, but you can't, like, do you give a fuck about your kids? Wouldn't you want your kids still have an education? Or what you thought Mike was going to do for them? Have them, like, did he have them set up? Did you have a bank account? Because nobody talked about were they well off? Did they continue working? Because as much as traveling they was doing, nah, some people stopped working. It had to be. But they don't talk about none of that shit in the documentary, because the way y'all going back and forth to all these places, I'm like, where the fuck was your job? I know the mothers wasn't working, probably the fathers were, but the mothers damn sure wasn't working, because they was going back and forth. And financially, I know Mike was hooking them up. So for Mike to tell you to tell your kids don't go to school and shit like that, and you agree with it, Mike must be doing something. And then here's another thing. And this is when I realized all these motherfuckers fucked up. Mike got married to Priscilla Presley, right? And the first thing the chick, Dave Safechuck mom says is, "Oh shit, we got dumped." This bitch was French as hell, because she keeps saying we, knowing that Mike don't give a fuck about her. Mike want that boy butt, which is your son. So we ain't get dumped. You was never there. You was just the one bringing the package to Mike, and you knew that. Mike wasn't your friend. You was like, I feel like I lost a son. Bitch, Mike the same age as you, bitch. What you talking about, a son? You felt like you lost the opportunity. And that's what you thought was going to happen when he married Priscilla Presley. So I'll be like, yo, again, all these motherfuckers be on some dumb shit. So, Yeah. And then I think it was like when Wade turned 14, Mike actually tried to really like bang bang. And he was like, yeah, he tried to bang bang. It didn't happen. A little penetration. Then the next day, Mike called him up and was like, yo, what you do with your underwear? You gotta hide them. You gotta get rid of them, because it may show blood. Now, all right. Anybody that deal with, therapy with people with these type of cases, one of the things that nobody ever said was like, we recognize how different he started to act later on in life. He was troubled in school. He was troubled this. The kids, I started to recognize a difference in his behavior. None of this shit was said during this documentary. Nobody had alcoholism. It seems like they went on and had decent lives, to be honest with you. It seemed like everything started to happen when Mike died, that they were dealing with traumas and stuff like that. How convenient. Now, let's keep it 100. If you guys don't know, Mike Jackson's estate is almost like $2 to $4 billion. And basically, they're on verge of this year making up to like $400 million. So everybody know that estate got money, and it's like right now, both of them are going through financial difficulties and everything like that. Just saying. Now, I think Mike came up on charges again in 2003 on some more shit in reference to they wound up getting a warrant for his arrest because he was messing with another boy who was a cancer victim and stuff like that. Basically, they needed Macaulay Culkin to testify. They Mike asked the Dave guy to testify, but he was like, no, we don't want to even be a part of it. But Wade family and they came and testified. First he was like, I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to be a part of it. And then, he eventually did come and he said, Mike didn't do this, Mike didn't do that, Mike didn't do this. So he got on the stand and said, Mike never touched me, Mike never did this, Mike never did this, on the stand in a courtroom, right? Now he doing a documentary saying, in fact, that he did touch me. So he purged himself. So is there any penalty that's going to happen? Just saying. Now, when they came out to the court, basically Mike was found not guilty. And because what did they say? It was like there wasn't enough evidence to show that he really did anything with him. Now, one of the jurors said, shit, I don't think out of 365 days of Mike sleeping in bed with boys that he probably didn't touch any of these kids. He probably did. But he said there wasn't enough evidence to show that he touched this one. So again, everybody know the nigga weird. and he estranged, but it was about, was it this particular kid? And they said no, right? Now, understand that and that's why I say with this show, it was a graphic with a lot of shit. Like, I'm gonna say it again, and it's not for me to be graphic. Mike was tossing salads, trying to fuck these boys, giving head, topping them, and all this other shit, right? But the dude Wade is already married. Like in 2008, he's married, and he's still trying to chill with Mike. Mike got kids with another lady, which we all gotta be delusional. I'd rather Mike just say I adopted some kids than say these are my kids from my artificial semen. Bitch, nigga, really? We already know them kids ain't your kids. There ain't no bloodline link you to them goddamn kids. So even that's another, like, nigga, we accept all the bullshit lies. I was like, his whole life is a fucking lie from him. And like I said, for Mike to act like he was lonely with a family as big as his, that's just telling you that the family wasn't fucking with him, and nor was they gonna have their kids around Mike. It was like, oh, Uncle Mike, man, Mike, the motherfucker, Randy, and none of the motherfuckers was like, you ain't around my kids by yourself, nigga, you weird. So you wasn't lonely, motherfuckers wasn't fucking with you like that. They knew something was up. But I think when it was all over, the what was it? The mother, Dave's mother said, Dave eventually said, Mike was an evil man during that court case in 2003. And she was shocked, like, oh, but the boy told her, don't say nothing, right? And she said, I won't. And then she said, when Mike died, I jumped out the bed and said, yes, he won't touch anybody anymore. I said, bitch, if you don't sit your dumb ass down saying some old dumb shit like that, like you was really beat whether or not he touched somebody, and he won't touch any more kids. If you gave a fuck about Mike touching kids anymore, why you didn't convince your son, like, we need to stop him? But at this point, now they come out with a documentary and all this other shit, trying to get some paper. Even Oprah shit's asked the dude, like, well, why do you want to sue him now? He's dead. That's the only way that I could get them to listen. No, you could just do the documentary to get them to listen. And just call it a day and say, this is what I felt. But how the fuck are you going to get something? You have no proof that he did this to you, because it seemed like the only thing y'all kept proof of was when Mike was giving y'all calls. But there is no proof that Mike did anything to you. And the question was, how would you get the proof? Because again, like I said, y'all say voice message of Mike saying, hello, how you guys doing? But you ain't say no messages of Mike saying, yo, let me come through and let me get that. Yo, what you doing tonight? Yo, why don't you stay with me? I miss you so much. I can't wait till we do what we did before. Like, you ain't got no incriminating shit against him. So it's like, you think you deserve some of the money from the state, what you're going to help do is tarnish his name. But it's easy to tarnish somebody's name when they dead, which was kind of corny on your part. Because let's be honest, you was still hanging with him up until 2008. So, come on. Like I said, I want y'all all to watch it and just tell me what y'all think, or even leave your comments or something. So definitely, that shit was weird. So I'll just walk away with, Mike was weird. The parents was on some bullshit. They was pimping their sons out. The sons, obviously, as kids, I can't blame you, whatever the fuck happened. But you sound suspect that now you go after him once he's dead. At this point, it don't make sense to be no entertainer. I'm telling you, you better leave these women alone, and you better you better do a song and stay in the motherfucking room by your damn self. You better not do something, because they coming after all y'all. Black entertainer. Let me be careful. It's not cool to be a black entertainer now. And look at all the crazy shit that's been happening just over this whole year. 2018, was a crazy year. 2019 seemed like it's gonna start on another one. From Jesse Smollett with his corny ass, and it's just like when you just sit back and look at all this shit, you be like, yo, what? This world coming to an end. But I can't end my show without talking about or just mentioning dumbass Kardashians and shit and that little fugazi shit. Look, man, this is the way I see that. They vilifying that chick, but that's how them bitches moved anyway. The Kardashians moved that way. You mad saying that this girl messed up your relationship and your family and all that, and why is she bothering my man? I was with him. But the reality, I remember Kim Kardashian was fucking with the game, and Khloe started fucking with the game. So, bitches, that's how y'all move. Y'all fuck with all y'all people. Y'all just mad somebody else came and fucked with somebody. And she said she ain't even fuck him, even though I don't believe that. But the nigga don't fucking want you. You keep giving the nigga chance after chance after chance. He like, damn, I can't even break out with the bitch. Like, can I? And now that I think about it, he probably didn't kiss it. He probably wanted motherfuckers to see he made out with her, so he probably feel like that's his out. Because there's some dudes that don't know how to break up with women. So it's like, let her break up with me. And I love okay, here's my memes of Tristan trying to break up with Khloe. And Khloe already got some fucking identity issues anyway. She trying to look like her sister, which her sister don't even look like that, because her sister had surgery to look like whoever the fuck she looked like now. Because if you ever looked at them without all the makeup, without all the surgery, you'd be like, well, who the fuck are these people? And I think she just, I think as of today, she just turned to be the first youngest billionaire. Good luck, Travis Scott. Sound like my dog downstairs barking. But I'm just saying, when you really think about all this crazy shit, nobody, like, I just think I appreciate Will Smith and Jada Pinkett standing up for their people, because that was their people. I think that they knew Jordan Smith when she was a little girl, because I think her father used to work on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and then I think Jaden Smith was cool with her, and he was the one who introduced her to the Kardashians. Y'all see the shit I gotta find out for a podcast? Shit I don't even give a damn about. But yeah, that's how they got cool, and then they were cool ever since and all this other stuff. But when they tried to vilify her, the Kardashians tried to vilify her, Jaden, I'm like, nah, you ain't gonna play my girl out like that, and then put them in their fucking place. I was like, stand up. That was some real stand up shit right there. I appreciate that. I was like, that was her for y'all to do that. And so basically that was my stance on that. Like, look, y'all come from a fucked up family, so ain't no rules in the game for y'all. Out of anybody, y'all don't have any leg to stand on. And I do want to talk about last week's episode, because I did get some feedback on that. And like I said, it was not to vilify DR or anything of that sort. It was just basically a topic just to create a symbolism or a comparison of that situation in our today's society. And I always say, I believe in creating knowledge so that we can understand things deeper. I don't know whichever way you choose to think, but I know when I wanted to talk about the subject, it was never to talk about such thing as hate. It was being able to correlate that into where we're at now. To understand that when you fight to get your own, or when you fight back and you actually win, you got those who are sore losers that will still wish to bring you down. And I didn't say Dominicans brought them down. I said the colonialisms in Haiti, and they would not support and everything of that sort. So, like I said, then I created a situation like, we always talk about basketball players and things of that sort. Like, yo, it's 100% black people in the NBA, and we can get our own NBA. And I say, yeah, the idea is nice. But what that made me realize by understanding the thing with Haiti again was just the fact, like, an idea can be great, but if you don't have the years and years and the preparations and the money and everything to back it, It's a great idea, it's an action that takes place, but then the end result is what? The end result is what we see that's happening in Haiti. Nothing. But we need support. And so that's the biggest thing that I always say, support. You can have a great community, but if people don't support your community is done. And it comes from the people. So it's always like, I realized by bringing up that topic and understanding and reading more into that topic, I was like, wow, that was deep. And to bring up the concept of the DR, and it was because they share that land together. So you can't talk about Haiti without talking about DR. So, I mean, it's never to hate because, like I said, learning your history is probably one of the most important things because then you get to understand how things are easily recycled, why things are the way they are, and sometimes why we go in different directions, why we have a tendency to act this way. Because if you understand psychology, if you understand, like, you know, when people have a therapist or law, all that's based on history. It's based on how problems were solved years and years ago. We're based upon observations. We're based upon observations and solutions to those problems. So why is understanding your own history something that can be frowned upon? No, that's how I understand why we have a tendency to act certain ways. That's why I'm able to understand why society views you a certain way. And like I said, as a black person, if you really had to keep it 100, people on the outside looking in would sometimes say, yo, they just mean, like ferocious people. But nah, that's not the case. That's the way they wish to portray you, because let's be honest, if you sat and looked at the news, I would think the same thing. But you gotta understand, I'm going to use Trump's favorite word, fake news. So is he even wrong with half the shit he be saying? Sometimes I always, look, I'll be honest with you, and I know I'm skipping over to Trump too. You may not like a lot of shit he does, and I'm not saying I support or don't support, but all I can say is some of the shit be outlandish that he said, but some of the shit, if you just sat back and look, you'd be like, it makes some kind of sense. And like I said, you had the choice between Hillary and Donald Trump. All I can tell you is this. You better find out about those Clintons. Do your research on the Clintons. Do your research on the Clintons. Then you'll say to yourself, no wonder Trump won. Because their hands are not clean like you motherfuckers thought. But that's another political conversation that we would talk about. I may want to talk about that eventually, but, you know, again, I'll just like to end the program with saying, no, I don't want to end the program. You know what? I'm going to bring up a subject. Yo, I seen this article. Hey, the show is called Shoot the Shit, so I'm going to just talk about shit random. Shoot the shit, right? I'm going to talk, I got a clip of, it was like, I don't know, what was it? It was like sometime in December. It was like a man and his daughter were out and with the mother, and it said, I think I'm gonna show you the article anyway. I'm gonna show you the video clip, and they said that the mother went out to a panhandler and offered the panhandler money. Then the panhandler killed his wife, and all right. The panhandler killed his wife, and his wife did a good deed, and then she wound up dying, right? That's not what makes this story crazy. I mean, just a simple situation where his wife died by trying to do a good deed. But what fucked it up, it was just recently they just found out that, in fact, it was actually him and his daughter that killed the mother. But what you're going to see in the clip is the fact that, like, people ain't shit. He a pastor, and the way they were acting on the thing, like the girl crying, a fake crying, she going like this, like, and then she takes her hand off, no tears. And one thing, that bitch looked like she ate. You ever seen New Jack City with Chris Rock was a crackhead, his mouth was white? I swear to God, this chick must think that's cute or something, or either her lips that goddamn ashy. But this bitch look fucked up. But she like this, like, she couldn't even fake cry or fake act that her mom was killed. So it was like they seemed guilty because I think they wound up catching them at the border of Mexico and shit. So I guess they must have found out people was getting close, and then they don't believe that act. Because even when y'all watch this shit, y'all gonna see this shit is crazy as hell. Yo, it's crazy as hell.
Jacqueline Smith and her husband Keith were driving home from a night out dancing.
It was just a beautiful night.
Celebrating their daughter's birthday when they saw a woman in need, carrying what looked to be an infant in her arms, in the rain, holding a sign that read, "Please help me feed my baby."
My wife felt moved to give us some money.
When Jacqueline rolled down the passenger window to give the woman money, a man approached to thank her, but then stabbed the 54-year-old mother and engineer to death, stealing her necklace and wallet before the pair ran away.
I'm from Baltimore. The last thing I thought that they were going to take my wife's life. And so now I got to live with that. I got to live with that every day.
The brazen attack prompting a response from Oprah, a former anchor in Baltimore, tweeting, "This story struck my heart. I've done this 1,000 times, but will think twice before ever doing again." Police have not caught the couple.
We also want to caution the public about engaging with panhandlers and recognizing the fact that not all of them have honest intent. Not all of them are in real need.
A good deed punished by a senseless death.
She was my soulmate and my everything.
Ron Mott, NBC News.
You see that shit? Now, that's the part that happened, beef. Like, that was one of the interviews. And
We start the news tonight locally with this just heartbreaking story. It is every bit as terrible as you most feared.
It's even worse now. 54-year-old Jacqueline Smith saw an East Baltimore woman in distress on a rainy and cold December evening, and she simply wanted to help. She rolled her window down in her car, and then she leaned out of the car. Within seconds, she was stabbed in the chest. WMAR 2 News' Brian Kubler spoke with the other two people in the car that night, and the pain that we all still can't comprehend. Brian?
Jamie, Keith and Jacqueline Smith were celebrating his daughter's birthday at a VFW hall in West Baltimore Friday night. On the way to drop her off on the east side, Jacqueline saw a woman in distress. She just wanted to help. Still dressed in the clothes she was wearing in the back seat of that car Friday night, Valeria Smith couldn't bring herself to leave her father this weekend at his home in Aberdeen.
I just want to make sure that my father is okay. Because, he's never been through this. Now he's a widower. He hasn't eaten. He doesn't sleep. And, I'm just worried about him. I'm trying to be strong for him.
But she, like so many, is paralyzed by the question, why? She says Friday night her stepmother saw a woman in need. Jacqueline waved her over to the car and was about to slip her a $10 bill. Her husband, Keith, was at the wheel.
My wife just felt moved to give her something. So at the stop sign, she waved her over to come on over to the car. And then out of nowhere, some guy came over while walking with her. And I hit my window, and Jacqueline went to hand the money out. And the guy just leaned over, said, "Can I thank your wife?" And I said, "You can thank my wife." And within that split second, this guy commenced to stabbing my wife.
Smith says the man then snapped the necklace off her neck while the woman grabbed his wife's purse. They ran off. Smith gave chase for a second before he says he heard Jacqueline's screams. His wife, a mother of two sons, one in school, the other in the Coast Guard, she herself an electrical engineer with the Department of Defense, was mortally wounded. Smith raced her to Johns Hopkins, but she didn't make it.
Blood was everywhere. It was something that, it was horrific for something like that to happen. But I'm right now just absorbing all of it.
Absorbing how his wife, who just wanted to do good, was the victim of something so wickedly bad. A family now left to contemplate murder, evil, faith.
It makes me look at this whole world differently now. You know, it makes me look at everything and everyone. Nothing is ever what it seems. And you just have to protect your family out here.
Miraculously, Keith Smith is already thinking of what comes next here. He tells us he wants the city to pass a law banning panhandling and soliciting at every intersection in Baltimore. He says he's going to make that abundantly clear to the mayor and that the law should be named Jacqueline's Law. Smith says he does not plan to give up until it happens.
I was like, oh, hell no. But look, then the bottom line, then they catch him. So this is like the final one that
Texas judge gives Maryland 10 days to pick up the father and daughter suspected in the killing of Jacqueline Smith.
They are accused of murdering the Aberdeen woman and are now denied bail. The pair was caught just 20 miles shy of the Mexico border.
WJZ investigator Mike Helgren is live in Aberdeen where the family lives, updating this twist in the case. Mike?
Vic, while the brother says this is shocking to a lot of people, it's not shocking to him. He always thought the story was fishy, and now the accused killers are in Texas awaiting extradition back to Maryland.
Before this, did you trust him or did you have issues?
Never cared for him. Never hung with him.
The brother of Jacqueline Smith says he never believed her husband Keith's story that a panhandler stabbed Jacqueline to death in East Baltimore last December.
There was a lot of questions. You know, how long it took to get her to the hospital. I mean, I had tons of them.
The cowards that took my wife's life, I hope it was worth it.
He also never believed Keith when he cried to the media following the killing.
What did you think then, and what do you think looking back on it now?
I was laughing then, and you know, I knew it was a circus. I knew it was all for optics. I knew it was a show, and I was just laughing. And I knew this day would come. I didn't know it would come this soon.
Now, both Keith Smith and his daughter Valeria are in custody. They were arrested in Cameron County, Texas. Here they are in court. They will be extradited back to Maryland to face murder charges.
We pursued the evidence from the very beginning. And these detectives were very tenacious, they were very thorough and dedicated, and they followed the evidence, and collecting all of that evidence allowed them to prepare a warrant, and a judge saw fit that probable cause existed inside that warrant, and now they're charged with first-degree murder.
Jacqueline's brother says Keith liquidated everything from her townhouse in Aberdeen after the murder, including the appliances, and abruptly announced he was moving to Florida.
If they can get the police to spend as much time in Florida, that gives him that much more time to make his way to the, to the border.
The revelation that her husband got caught up in his web of lies brings some peace to Jacqueline's family, but there's still a long road ahead to justice.
I'd like to see them go to prison, maybe for life.
Jacqueline Smith was a loving mother and an engineer here in Aberdeen. Officially, police have not said what they believe the motive is. Live in Harford County, Mike Helgren, WJZ.
I just wanted to bring that up. I don't know. I just was running through it, and I seen that story. I was like, yo, it's just another case of people. Look, all y'all dudes with y'all woman or whatever, y'all are always going to be don't kill nobody. It's always, don't kill your wives, don't kill your husband, don't kill your kids. Y'all going to get caught. So that's my public service announcement. And again, finally going to interrupt, in the show, but again, I appreciate all those who have continued to watch the show. I'm glad you guys like it. Hope you leave more comments. Help get my show still up and popping. And you know what? I'm seeing my subscription get a little bit higher, but for all those who are supporting, I definitely thank you. All those who are viewing, I definitely appreciate it. And like I said, consistency is the key. And thank you again for tuning in to Shoot the Shit. See you next week.